All right, what's going on, guys? Okay, have to talk about something here. All right, we're gonna talk about the assuming self-righteous experts out there that have an issue and an opinion on everything. And I'm posting this because I posted a picture of me with a new dog I'm working with, a Great Pyrenees, and I had to just laugh from some of the comments. Everyone's an expert. Thank you for all the advice. Like, I don't know what the dog is or what it was, I don't know what it was bred to do or shouldn't be doing or should be. Thank you for all that advice. I'll take it all in. Okay. It's just a picture. Think about that. Just a picture and got that much attention. Most of it just normal and fine, but some of the people out there. So I want to talk about a little bit something here for everyone that assumes they know what they're talking about just from a picture. I'm working with 3 Great Pyrenees right now. Probably my least favorite dog breed to work with. One of them. Never excited about it. Extremely difficult because, yes, they are bred to do a specific job, and the genetics seem to run very strong in these dogs. Extremely independent. Don't want to do anything to please you. Don't do well with even basic obedience in many instances. Some instances they do. Many of them aren't motivated by anything, food, toys, play, nothing. Affection and touch and attention seems to work best with a lot of them. But it's nothing new to me. I've worked with these breeds for a very long time. Very long time. They are interesting, and I'm never excited about taking them on. There's usually always a reason why I do take them on. 2 of the 3 Great Pyrenees that I'm working with right now are extremely, extremely dog aggressive. Very difficult to work with. Very, very difficult. Okay? All 3, none of the 3 were purchased as puppies from a breeder or nothing like that. All 3 were pretty much adoption rescue scenarios, or 2 of the 3 were failed at doing what they were bred to do. For all the people that complain about people getting these dogs, 2 of the 3 dogs were put in a situation to do what they were meant to do. They were failed flock guardian dogs. They didn't do well doing what they were bred to do. And so the people couldn't keep them. One of them failed at being out in the field outdoors doing its job, and the other dogs in that pack were kind of turning on that dog. Is that dog aggressive today because it was being, I don't know if it was attacked or just beat up on or bullied by the other dogs in that pack? I don't know. There's a good chance that that dog was being singled out by the other dogs because of the way it is. So you don't know. So when I take on a dog like this, I'm extremely honest with the people who get these dogs. I don't tell them it's going to look like the German Shepherd down the street, or we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'm extremely blunt and honest on what they can expect, what their expectations need to be. And I'm also very clear when the situation isn't right for the dog. I'm always going to be honest with people, okay? If I don't take those kinds of dogs on, if I tell the people, you know what, that dog, you got the wrong dog for your situation, and I just don't take them on, then they find someone else. At least I know I'm going to give them what they need. I'm going to treat the people right. I'm going to treat the dog right. I'm going to give them everything I have. It's not an easy job. If I'm only going to take on clients and dogs that make me look good, that are great to show off on Facebook and YouTube, then I'm pretty much in the wrong line of work. And then that's just based on ego and pleasing people and making myself look like a great trainer. So I'm never scared to take on a dog that's going to make me look bad. There is no looking good as a dog trainer when you take on a lot of these flock guardian dogs. It's just not going to, it's not going to happen. Okay? Very, very difficult. With the dog, the picture of the dog I posted yesterday, again, that was another rescue situation. Don't know the history of the dog. It's a fairly young dog. If I had to guess, I would say no older than 2 years old. Extremely sweet dog. Beautiful disposition on this dog. Like, really sweet dog. And it belongs to a phenomenal family. Incredible family that loves animals and wants to do the right thing. That's why they called me. Okay? Right? That dog does have some small animals, so we could give it a job. Has chickens, has rabbits. And so my goal is to utilize that stuff to give that dog a sense of being and allow it to do kind of what it was meant to do. We don't know if it will be able to. So far, the temperament around the chicken seems okay. The temperament around the rabbits is a little iffy, so I got to be really careful. So now, if I take a dog like that on, you know, I never know exactly what I'm going to do with each dog when we start. But especially with these dogs, I dread it. And I tell the people, folks, you have to understand this isn't going to be easy. You know, this dog isn't going to look like my dogs or even your neighbor's dog that I train. It's not going to happen, right? And so they get that. And I keep drilling that into everyone over and over and over. As someone who trains pet dogs, and I think most dog trainers will probably agree with this, it's extremely common that we take on a client that has a dog that's not exactly perfect for their lifestyle or their living situation. That's common. So do we just tell everyone that doesn't have the right dog, I can't help you? You got the wrong dog? You can, I guess. But you're there to help people, not to shoo them away and criticize them for getting the wrong dog breed. You know, so some of the comments I saw, they just make a lot of assumptions. You know, the first one that I posted a few weeks back, it started, you know, how disgusting it is that people get these dogs that were bred to do something and they're not allowed to do something. Well, if you would have shut your mouth and opened your ears, you would have known that dog failed at what it was bred to do. Failed miserably. Other people have tried it. That's why the dogs wound up in shelters and rescues. You understand? So everyone on social media is such an expert. Such an expert. And they just assume they know the dog's situation, which is just absolutely silly. So let's take the dog yesterday I worked with, right? I think I posted something like, you know, probably close to 300 repetitions of heel, sit. And, you know, a couple people were like, to the fact that, you know, that's too much for that dog, whatever. I understand what you're saying. I get it. I totally get it, right? If I'm working with a dog in a board and train, my sessions are real short. I don't work a dog for very long. When I leave a private lesson client's house, same thing. Like with that dog yesterday, as much work as we did in 2 hours, because it's the first lesson. So that first lesson is always going to be more. I have to break through a little bit with the dog, but I have to spend a lot of time giving the owners a lot of instruction and education on what to continue for the next week while I'm gone, right? So it was a good 2-hour lesson. So I want you to do the math here. What I did with that dog, normally I start working with the owners and the dog right away together. I know with these guardian breeds, it's going to be difficult. And a lot of times it's hard for us to break through to the dog. So I said, I'm going to take the dog, I'm going to go away, take the dog for a walk, and I'm going to work the dog for 20 or 30 minutes on my own. I'm going to see if the dog has any interest in food. I'm going to see how it is on a leash. I'm going to see how it responds to like really simple requests like, you know, sit or heel or come to me, whatever. But I have to feel the dog out first lesson, right? So what I found when I took that dog yesterday away from the home was, you know, doesn't walk great on a leash. That's fine. I'll fix that very fast. But when I just attempted to get the dog to sit, the dog was like, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Now, everybody knows that if I try to get a dog to go down and the dog doesn't down very easily or with a lure, with a little bit of leash pressure, I back off. I don't force that down. And I come back to it a couple weeks down the road and it's going to be very strong. I've shown that, you know, hundreds of times. But if I ask a dog to sit and I help it with the leash or, on the back end, the dog has to sit, right? It's like with this dog, we went beyond basics with this dog. I mean, as basic as it gets, which to be honest with you was kind of nice. And the one thing that I told the owners was the fact that this dog has no interest in nothing and won't take food and won't do this almost makes the trainer easier for me to pass on to the owners, because I'm not worried about teaching markers and reward timing and marker timing and all those little things that sometimes owners struggle with at first, right? It's very simple. Basic leash skills on a flat collar, okay? So that first time I asked that dog to sit and I tried to help her, it was like, oh, hell no. No, I'm not doing anything. As a matter of fact, I'm not looking at you. I'm going to continue to look around and do what comes naturally to me, and I'm not sitting for nothing. I ain't doing anything. And I was like, holy crap. And we kind of battled it out, but I can't back away from that. I had to help the dog with leash pressure and my hand coming from behind the butt to manipulate the sit. I had to. And that first one, that dog fought me like crazy. It was like, not doing it, right? But the second the dog did it the first time, I praised it and we moved on, okay? When I tried it the second time, the dog fought me, but not nearly as hard. She did it, I praised her, we moved on. So after a few times of doing that, then the dog started giving it to me without fighting me, right? Still wasn't excited, wasn't looking at me like a Malinois or a Border Collie or a German Shepherd, but she was doing it without conflict. And so what else can I add from there? Very little. I have to teach this dog how to learn and how to give us a little something that she will be able to live in this home successfully, right? And she's going to have to give me a little bit of obedience that she really normally would not want to do. Doesn't come natural to the dog. And doesn't come natural to most of these breeds, right? Although one of them that I work with has pretty good obedience. Does pretty well with all the basics. Actually, two of them. The other two actually do pretty well. Right? So now when I talk about, a couple hundred repetitions, few hundred repetitions in a 2-hour lesson, I know it sounds like a lot, but think about this. I need this dog just to be able to walk with the family on a leash. And I need it to sit and maybe come to me on a leash. That's it. And so I went away from the house and I found some kids and I found some dogs to see how she responded, just to feel her out. But now once I started getting that sit, now with the dog next to me, if I tell the dog heel and I take 2 steps and I say sit, the dog sits. I say heel and I say sit. Heel and sit. Let's think about if I just did 4 or 5 repetitions in a minute, right? Isn't a lot. That's actually kind of taking your time. And at one point I started adding a little time in the sit and moving around and fixing the dog when she broke it, you know what I mean? But let's just say I had 5 repetitions in 1 minute. 4 repetitions in a minute. That's not that much. It's not outlandish, right? Well, in an hour time, you're talking about 200 to 240 repetitions in 1 hour. That's a lot, but it's not excessive for the dog, if that makes sense, right? It's not crazy. You're just asking the dog to walk next to you a couple steps and sit. Walk next to you and sit. A couple times I'd let the dog go and call her, taught her some leash pressure, right? Because she was like, I'm not giving it to her, but very light, straight line leash pressure. All these little things, beyond basics, as basic as it gets. I have to give that dog a little bit of a foundation on how to learn and how to respond to the leash, and very simple commands. In this case, heel and sit, right? And come, we started working on. And so in that time I took the dog away from the owners, she wound up doing very well with me, like very well. No more fighting it, giving it to me, doing well. Actually got her to look up at me for attention a few times, which was great. But I know once I get back to the owners, who she's already extremely bonded with, they're beautiful family, very loving family. And the children are great with the dogs, and their little girl works with the dog. And she's a really good-natured dog. She's great with their little dogs. But now I know when I get back with them, she's going to revert right back to what she's used to doing already, and she's going to start fighting it again. And I tell the people this beforehand. She's going to fight everything. Now I'm going to teach you how to work through it. And we did that. We did that. There was actually a couple of times while I was working with the dog got excited and threw a little pep in her step and jumped around and looked at me and then caught herself and was like, oh, that's enough. I don't want to get too excited. Don't expect that again. She actually gave me that a few times with the owner and the family, the child, while we were working, which was great. This is the first day. First day is always hard. It's always longer. But in a 2-hour period, to get 300 sits, do we normally do that with a dog? No, we don't. We normally don't have to. You understand what I'm saying? But you have to take that dog that's in front of you and give it what you think it needs at that moment. And at that moment, I kind of knew that's what the dog needed, because we have to start laying that foundation so the dog learns how to learn. That's simple. And so when I leave, I give the family extremely simple instructions on the obedience. But I also show a ton of examples on what to do inside the home. Little things that the average person doesn't think of. Controlling space, not walking stepping over the dog when it's blocking the doorway, walking through the dog and making her get up and move, not letting the dog blow out the doorway, controlling that space. That stuff goes a really long way. And when people see it, when they see the dog give you that, it's very powerful for someone to see, because they start to understand, And so I'm very clear with people, especially that first day. Don't try to remember all this. You're not going to. But as we go on, it's going to start making sense and it will come natural to you. All right? I give everything I can to the people I work with. And sometimes it's tough. And sometimes working with breeds like this, it can frustrate me. And, it's not something I get excited about or look forward to, but you have to be honest with people and give them realistic expectations. Okay? So if we could take that dog that looks so miserable in the picture, she was exhausted. That's a lot. We spent a lot of time with her. She was ready to go. And from there, what I tell the people is bring her inside, put her in her crate for 30 minutes to an hour, maybe even longer. Just let her sleep it off, rest. When you take her out, go outside, give me 5 minutes of what we just did. Just 5 minutes. 10 minutes tops. And I guarantee you she's going to do better than she did when we ended. Okay? We give her that soak time. Give her that time to relax. Give me 5 minutes. And throughout the day, work with her 5 minutes. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. That's it. But at first, we have to lay that foundation. You know what I mean? So 3 Great Pyrenees I'm working with right now. I'm never excited about to work with. I love the breed. Beautiful dogs. They are outstanding at what they were bred to do. But a lot of them not only don't get to do it, but in this case, 2 of the 3 failed at what they were bred to do. So what do you do from there? What do you do? I know a lot of trainers will say, just put the dog down. Well, people aren't going to go for that, guys. These dogs are going to wind up in a home, and they're going to wind up with the trainer, if they're lucky. And I'm fortunate enough that all 3 people are incredible people with big hearts and want to do right by the dog. And so I'm going to give them what I can, as long as they want to do it. Because I don't want to see any one of those dogs go to a trainer, and day 1, the e-collar goes on the dog, and they're lighting the dog up for non-compliance. Think about what that would do to this breed. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give the dog and the people what it needs. So I don't mind debates when I post something, or disagreements and people question things. But when I just watch the just arrogance of some people, like just assuming they know like where this dog came from or the opportunities it had before. You sound like an idiot. You just do. You make yourself look stupid, and don't do that. If you have a question, ask. A few of those people, I think I blocked one person because it was just sarcastic comments over and over. I don't need that. You know what I mean? Off a picture. Ask. What's this dog's backstory? Where did it come from? Did it have an opportunity to live outside and guard something? You ask those questions, you might understand better. But instead, you assume. And you know what happens when you assume, right? You become a douchebag. I think that's the saying, right? When you assume, you become a douchebag. Don't be a douchebag. just ask the question and I'll help you out. I'll tell you, you know. I just do what I can to help these dogs. I don't know how far I'll take it. You know, one of them's really struggling with the aggression. The other one's doing pretty damn well. The other one's struggling really hard, you know, and I don't know how far we'll take it, how far we'll be able to get the dog. I'm going to do everything I can, but I'm also going to be honest and realistic with the owners. You know, you may have to manage this for the life of the dog. And, you know, it's not a dog that, you know, should be walked downtown and visit shops and meet other dogs. It goes against everything the dog is created to do. And some of them can do that, but some of them it's going to be very, very tough. You know, very tough. So I just wanted to touch on that. I'm working with 3 right now. It's not easy. But I'm never going to just take a dog that's going to make me look good. You know, I don't mind failing. I really don't. It would keep me up at night, and I'd probably be training that dog for the rest of its life because, you know, I never get to the end and say, there's no more we can do. I just don't. As long as the owners want, I'll keep giving. Okay? So I hope that answers some of your questions there. Don't assume. Don't be a douchebag. Okay? Just ask. Hey, what's the backstory with this dog? Was it ever placed out in the field and allowed to do what it was bred to do? And then you would have known. I said, yeah, it did. That's where it came from. It failed. Dogs were attacking it, wound up in a shelter. We found this dog in a humane society. But now the people want to give it a good home. Now it's my job to educate the people on what the breed is and what the breed needs. Okay? Okay, folks? Have a wonderful day. Peace.